Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to show off my TARDISes, my 1/13 scale TARDISes from Jamie Bates, who produces TARDIS kits made out of MDF wood that you can basically build and assemble together to make, well, these specimens as you can see here. Now these have become one of my favourite parts of my collection, just simply because when you get them, they're all flat packed MDF. But you basically stick them together. You've got to add a few extra pieces, which I'll talk about in a second. But basically, you make them yourself. As you can see, I have a Hartnell box, Brachacki, a Barry Newbery box as Tom Baker from like season 14 to 17, and then I have a TYJ Box, which I have, which I've modelled off sort of season 18/19, or tried to anyway. So we're not going to start off with the Hartnell box, we're not going in chronological order, because the first box that I made was actually this one, the Tom Yardy Jones season 18/19 box. Right, so let's go over the bits that you've got to do yourself. So the kit is just the wooden MDF. So you get all of the roof, the sides, the housing for the lamp, the base, window frames. And you do also get the decals as well. The TARDIS signs for the police box and the door sign and everything. But the bits you've got to get yourself are the windows, the actual glass for the windows, including the adhesive film we want to use for the sort of bubbly effect that the TARDIS has in the corners. You have to obviously buy the paint yourself, the actual lamp. You've got to buy yourself corners, posts, which I have used cocktail sticks. I've used cocktail sticks in all of my TARDISes actually, and it comes out looking good. So the door handles as well, and the lock, they have all been sculpted by wire and then milliput, which is this sculpting. It's a sculpting sort of material that you sort of, you sculpt together a little bit like blue tack or Play-Doh, and then you sort of sculpt it into a shape, and then over time it dries and hardens, and then you have whatever you sculpted. So everyone's probably thinking, hang on, why is this signpost like a greyish colour with black writing? Now, you've probably seen a publicity photo, or I don't know if it's a publicity photo actually, but there's a photo anyway from, I think it's Full Circle, and it's when the Doctor's just coming out the TARDIS and you see the sign, and it looks, it's not the same as the others. It is a different it's different sign. It sort of looks like a pinkish grey and then black writing. And I think that's really, really interesting. That's one of the reasons why I love TARDISes in general. And, sometimes the toys, they don't capture, obviously, all the details. I just thought it was a little interesting feature. So I've tried to add that. Same as the window panes, actually. Now, as you can see here, the back and the sides are the traditional sort of frosted pebbly glass, just in the bottom corners. However, the front, for the majority of season 18, and then obviously season 19, the front had completely sort of pebbled glass on the right hand side, and then only 4 windows on the left hand side were pebbled. So, a very interesting aspect to the TARDIS. And of course, I have made sure the door on the left hand side opens like in the prop. And again, that's just another very interesting aspect, and that gives this box a little bit of variety, because on all the others, only one of the door opens, by the way. On all of the others, I have the other door, the right hand door, opening. So as you can see, this police box has the lamp, and that's because in the story Legopolis, they had multiple police boxes I'm not sure if they needed it for the Master's TARDIS or whatever, but, you know, they had multiple police boxes in the story anyway. So they refurbished the Barry Newbery box, which, you know, has a block on top where the lamp is. And so yeah, it was refurbished. So basically the block was left on top of the prop, and then just to make the other, the proper TARDIS, the new one, more similar to the other one, they put the block on top anyway, and I quite like this look. So, you know, makes it taller, obviously, you know. I feel like it makes it more slimmer, and of course this was left through season 19 as well, Peter Davison's first series, before going back to this look for season 20 onwards. But then the TARDIS was looking a bit shabby anyway, and that was a different model box, or that, you know, same box. I think it was refurbished. Let's move on to the painting. The painting is one of my favourite parts. It's actually gone through a repaint, this box. The original colour I painted it came out a little bit too sort of vibrant, a little bit brighter. So I went back and sort of tried to paint it sort of not a darker or a lighter blue. Well, I think it's a little bit lighter blue actually, but more duller, like a dull blue. And then I've gone over it with like a black wash, because it looked quite dirty, you know. It looked like pictures from season 18, sort of later on anyway, especially like Full Circle and Warrior's Gate, even some shots in the Megapolis. Like the box looks very sort of covered in dirt and grime and stuff like that. So I've given it like a black wash just to sort of simulate that dirtiness, and it has actually dulled the blue down quite a bit, which, you know, I'm actually quite happy for. Yes, so I have a season 18/19 box, which looks excellent displayed next to the figures. So now let's move on to the next box I made, which was the Hartnell box, the very first TARDIS. Okay, so the Hartnell box, Brachacki Mark 1. So again, this came flat packed, and I assembled it together. I think I've actually got photos of me assembling it, so if I have, I will include those in the video, so you can see what I've done. I assembled it, then again, I think I painted it flat pack, or I gave it the first coat flat pack, and because I had to leave the windows out, and obviously because this box, the windows are white, which, you know, looks really vibrant, and I'm quite glad they've gone back and done it with the new series, you know, the Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi actually as well, isn't it? It's both of those TARDISes, I think. So anyway, the windows are left out, and I done those quite later on anyway, later than when I done the windows for the first box that I made. I found this blue. B&Q is where I get all my paint, by the way. B&Q. There's a massive, well, the one that's local to me, there's a massive sort of colour chart on the wall, and I basically go down with my little reference photos, because I do hours of research. Now I just want to point out the paintwork first, because I'm very impressed with what I've done here. So I found this blue, which, you know, after looking at the few colour images that we have of this box, I thought was pretty bang on, pretty exact. So I was very excited. You look at images of the Hartnell box, you can even see this in the black and white images. It sort of picks up, it's like a lighter tone all over the box. Obviously with loads of like lumpy bumps, because they wanted to simulate the concrete look of the actual police boxes that were sort of around in the 40s, 50s, 60s time. I used polyfiller for the lumpy bumpy stuff. I just sort of smothered it all over after sort of gluing the bits together. I would like to point out, actually, it's the same with this box. It's the same with all of the boxes. I have made the roof removable, because it is just easier for when you want to open and close the doors, like so. I'm not going to do it too much. I don't want to break. I feel like my new latest box, my Tom Baker box, one of the hinges is broken on that. And for that I use dollhouse dollhouse hinges on every single police box as well. Well, after gluing it together, painting it blue, the first coat of blue, I then focused on the windows. So after gluing the windows in, and basically they were painted white, I used just plastic lids, again from B&Q, cut them up, stuck them on the back. Got this adhesive film off of Amazon, which you know, sort of emulates the sort of pebbled glass look. Stuck those in the corners. It's like an adhesive film type thing, so you just sort of like stick it in, and it's quite fiddly, but you know, it does a job. On this scale, I think it looks really good. Painted the windows, gave them a wash, like a white wash, because they do look, well, they have a white wash in the show, so, you know, I was going to do the same here. The decals, again, came with the kit, so they were just easily cut out, but that's the last thing I did, so I'm jumping ahead here. Also, sculpted on a lock. This is going to get really confusing because I'm going out of order here, I'm just doing it from memory. Before painting it, I sculpted a lock, and that was achieved by a cocktail stick, like a thicker cocktail stick, which I just cut to like the tiniest size, and then I stuck milliput again round the base just to give that ring, and then basically painted it silver and the top gold. And obviously this box had no door handles, it only had a sort of quite prominent looking lock, so I sculpted that, obviously painted it all, stuck the windows in, painted the lamp as well, and this lamp I just use, again, it's just some plastic, I've just rolled up into like a plastic sheet, like really thin, rolled up into a tube and then painted. And the bobble on top of the lamp housing, again, that's all of my boxes have this, and again, that's just milliput, which I've sculpted and stuck on. And so I stuck the decals on, and then I went over with the lighter blue, and that's just obviously to give it the little washes. You see all the publicity images, that sort of lighter look, makes it look more worn and sort of tatty and used, isn't it? Which you know, looks really good. Also, you know, a fun little thing which I did, door sign, I went over the framing white first, as seen in the pilot, and then obviously went over it with a blue, and you can sort of see some little white sort of smudges sort of coming through, which again was on the prop. And then I have painted over slightly the St. John ambulance's sign. In the actual prop, I think it was painted over slightly heavier, but I didn't want to do it too much, because obviously I still wanted it to be seen, and obviously I just wanted the idea of it, you know, being painted over and stuff. So that was generally it. I've done a little bit of sanding, so you can see there are little bits of wood showing throughout the box here and there. And again, that was just to give it a slightly worn look. And I think it is Dark Invasion of Earth. Obviously, the bridge falls on the TARDIS, doesn't it? And I think the actual prop got a little bit damaged. And then, as you can see, especially if you look at images from the chase, you can see there's a massive chunk taken out of just the top of the TARDIS, just here. Displayed next to the Hartnell and now obviously Ian Chesterton figure. It just looks absolutely excellent. So now we move on to the latest box, which I made only a few months ago, actually. So it wasn't that long ago, which is the Barry Newbery Season 14 to 17 box. Now for this one, again, exactly the same process as the others. Flat pack. When it comes in its packaging, they're all sort of held together by tape, but in basically where you need to glue them. So when making these, obviously I sort of mark up and measure all the bits out and exactly where they're going to go. So when it comes to gluing, I can just see where I've marked out and I can just stick them together. Now obviously this door opens as well, and it's quite stiff, this one. That's just the paint now, that's just where I've painted it. And again, the roof comes off, which again is quite stiff on this one. So I obviously haven't assembled it very well. Now, this prop is slightly different to all the others. Obviously it's smaller, but this is the only TARDIS box, to have beveled edges on the side. So obviously the process was the same. I sort of glued all the bits together that I needed to glue, and then it was all flat pack and ready to paint. Obviously sculpting the lock on and cutting out because this box has 2 locks. So I sculpted the first lock on, and then I cut a sort of section out for the other lock, because one of them's a Yale lock, I think the other one's for the Pacific TARDIS key, which I had at the show at this point. But before I started painting, I had the issue of solving what was I going to do for the beveled edges. So I got a cereal box, and I cut out, after measuring, I first measured out the size of the panels, and then sort of working out where I'd need to sort of the size of them, and obviously the size of the inside. So I basically cut out like a square, and obviously made it hollow in the middle, and then I cut the edges ever so slightly, and then, as you can see in the photos, I stuck them at an angle in the panels to give it the beveled edge. Now obviously, as you can see in these close-ups, some of them have come out better than others, but again, it's a small scale, you're not going to have it exact. Now obviously this is inaccurate because it has a back, and this TARDIS prop didn't have a back at all. It had obviously the doors and the 2 sides, and then just like a curtain rail at the back, and obviously that was to allow the characters, the actors, to the Doctor and Leela, Romana, whoever you want, K9, just to basically come in and not all be stuck inside this TARDIS. When painting this one, I went for a colour which was far too light. It looked more like the blue. If I get around to doing a Sylvester McCoy TARDIS, sort of season 25 or something, I might use this blue because it was good for that, but completely wrong for this box. So after painting it and doing 3 coats of that, because I thought, no, it looked good after that, it looked good, and sort of looking at reference images, because obviously some of the reference images looked lighter than others, and yes. Anyway, it was the wrong colour. So I went back to B&Q, and I picked another colour out, which I thought, yeah, you know what? It's a lot darker, but I think this will work. And when I done my first coat, as you can see from these images, it looks really dark, and I was really worried contrasting with the lighter blue. I thought, this is far too dark. I'm going to give it completely the wrong blue. And I even thought that after putting the other coats on. So it wasn't until I put the decals on, the door sign, that it somehow made the blue like a lot lighter, and I looked at it and I was like, yeah, that's it. That's the colour. And now, as I said at the beginning of the video, I think this is the best one I've done so far. Now, it's a little bit crumbly, this box, and that is because when painting it, I got a bit of just soil mixed up in the paint, and that's obviously because this TARDIS had a bit of a bobbly texture. It wasn't quite the same look as the Artexy look from the Hartnell box, but it had sort of like a pebbly look to the paint, like in close up. So I again achieved that by adding sort of little blobs of just soil, scrunching it together in the paint. But I also got glue, and I sort of, glued it all, and then as it dried, I went over with a cocktail stick and sort of bunched it up. So again, as you can see in these close-ups, especially like on the front, there are some more sort of subtle bobbly textures, which I think actually works even better. So the windows, same process again. Plastic lids cut out, stuck in, painted grey, so you can't actually see through the box. Pebbled glass was painted this yellowy colour, as seen in the story. Now, as you can see in close-ups, I've tried to make him look a bit tatty, especially on the left-hand side of the box, and that was sort of more prominent in sort of end of Tom's era. But as I wanted this box to be a mixture of season 14 to 17, I wanted, I just wanted sort of different details in there throughout those seasons. So yes, after sticking the decals in and then weathering it up, which just sort of made it, just completed the look really, just of all the subtle whites and blacks that I sort of dry brushed on. And again, having this box standing next to Tom Baker on the shelf, the figure of the Doctor Who, and Romana, Leela, K9, whoever you like, it just looks excellent. And I gotta say, I think out of all the boxes I've made, this is definitely, I think, the best one that I've done. They're all visually interesting, but yeah, they just look amazing. Next to the Doctors, next to each other as well. I do plan to do more. The next one that I want to do is the John Pertwee sort of season 10, season 11. So that'd be the Brachacki Mark III box. That's the next one I want to do. So hopefully, that one will be better as well. Maybe I can actually get the door open, because this one I struggle with the Barry Newbery one. So yeah, that's my little collection of Jamie Bates TARDIS kits that I have made myself. I hope you enjoyed this little run through of me blabbering on about them for however long I've blabbed on for. But yeah, thank you for watching, and yeah, I will see you soon for another video. Season 22 box set is coming out soon, so I would like to do a few videos on that. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the future for more videos. Take care. So you've just seen another one of my videos. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to keep watching and subscribe. Leave a comment as well. To Louis Marcus's YouTube channel. That's me, by the way. In case you were wondering.